Another deal, guys, that I wanted to also, or a situation that I wanted to also discuss as well was Philip Morris International, of course, and Altria. Those talks that we first learned about a few weeks ago, I've updated a couple of times. Last week, I think, I said there's still progress being made. I did want to share that it's moving along, but slowly. And as you might imagine, this most recent effort worldwide to potentially regulate and or ban vaping is having an impact. It is having an impact. Now, we all know that Philip Morris owns 35% of Juul. It paid $12.8 billion for that stake. It does not have a control position. It's not an economic issue necessarily, but it is something perception-wise that is figuring into this in terms of how Philip Morris is perceived. And negotiating a deal of this type against this backdrop of ever-changing and seemingly higher restrictions on vaping is having an impact. And so it is moving slowly. That's about all I can share at this point. You know, I'm not getting a great deal of they got lawyers all over the place. They don't like people talking, as you might imagine. But as you also might think, it's having an impact on their ability to sort of get this deal to the finish line.
Sure. Now, I had Michael Gorenstein on last night. Michael is the CEO of Kronos.
Right.
And
which Altria also owns.
$1.8 billion they gave them. David, I think the $19 billion amount that Altria gave is substantially in excess of what you get right now. It's substantially. And Kronos.
Wait, I'm sorry. What billion? What are you talking about?
No, the Juul bid.
Yeah.
The Juul stake is worth much less, and the Kronos stake, I think, is much less.
Got it.
I think that the desire for Altria to get, I'm sorry, I misspoke on that.
Yeah.
The desire from Altria to get away from tobacco was doing well. And now I'm beginning to think it's a fiasco.
Well, they're trying to figure all of these things out. I mean, and every day you've got another country that's considering banning vaping. You could imagine that it's having an impact. Now, the IQOS product, let's be clear, is not a vaping product.
Right.
It's the Philip Morris International product. It's a heat, not burn product. And as I've said many times, to the extent that people have been able to try to explain the rationale behind the deal, it's not necessarily about synergies, Jim, even though there will be some, certainly on cost.
Survival.
It's about survival. It's about innovation. It's about R&D. It's about the window being open now for new products. But you've got this whole question about vaping.
Yeah, Carl, I felt I had been trying to figure out Juul, and then I saw your documentary. I decided I figured out Juul. Juul's a fancy method to deliver cancer with flavors. And that's okay. I mean, everybody has a right to do whatever they want. There's a company that delivered Roundup, which turned out to have consequences, and asbestos. There were companies that made asbestos. But, Carl, you have said to me that I know they're going to be furious about that. You know, I don't even give a damn. I don't. But, Carl, one thing that is absolutely clear is that the foreign countries seem to like it as a method to be able to get off of cigarettes. But what happened in China? They did it. They did it for a couple of days? What happened in China and Juul?
China and India are the two big worry spots, I would argue, for Juul. As far as synergies go, guys, I mean, Juul would argue that Altria has had a very light touch when it comes to their own operations, but that they're going to lean heavily on Altria's experience in addressing policy risk, as we saw with Big Tobacco 1.0. That's the one thing that Juul's going to benefit from as part of that ownership stake, obviously, besides the money.